one of the biggest years of my life, I think, just with having my family on the road and my son who was born right before the tour started, and then doing the tour and then the Olympics and so many events that had to fit in and so many big events. So yeah, it was a really successful year, I felt like. Yeah. It was the wildest experience because right before the event I got hurt and then I almost didn't do the event, and I felt like so much happened. We had the biggest waves we've surfed at Chopu in an event during that third round, and then yeah, just such a wild experience. I feel the country's involved and there's so much that rides on it, and that was my first Olympics too. So
yeah, I actually thought the Olympics was a roaring success, not just for surfing, but in particular Australia, with our Irukandjis and Jack Robinson getting the silver medal. So best ever result.
Yeah, I gave it to Zen right away. He tried to bite it like a cookie. He was stoked on it, but yeah, put it up on the wall. It's cool. I think it's just a nice reminder of the work and what it takes to get there and just be at the Olympics, let alone win a medal. So I definitely see a new rise for sure from all the Australians. There's a new energy, it feels like, with all the Australian surfers, and definitely different than the last few years. I felt like Brazil sort of had their moment, and I feel like it's Australia and America who are really pushing hard now again. And yeah, back in the day, 10 years ago, there was Mick Fanning and Joel Parkinson and Taj. So I feel like there's a new energy with us, with Ethan and myself and all the other guys who have qualified, all the other Australians. So I feel like it's a good moment. It's crazy because yeah, Gabriel's a celebrity in his country, and it's really cool. He brings a lot of new faces, or a lot of attention to surfing. I felt like he brings a big audience, so that's always fun going against those guys. I love competing against him. I love competing against all the Brazilians. I feel like they push each other. They push all of us to be better. So yeah, it gets super intense. We had a really good heat at the Olympics this year. Yeah, he had a crazy photo that was actually really cool. It was kind of incredible how it went like that. So yeah, it was elbow to elbow, and I was actually laughing for a second. We were elbowing each other in the head, and then just to try and get the first jump on each other. It's kind of funny. I was kind of imagining it if we were in an old stadium, a gladiator pit. We'd just be the guys that the two countries would send against each other to try and kill each other.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for Ray Gun, Medina would have owned the Olympics outright, but he got stitched up by an Australian breakdancer. Yes! Finally, someone beats him. But I found the Olympics to be the ultimate showcase of everything that's great about surfing on that one day in particular, when it was as brutal and as life-threatening as Chopu ever gets. We got to see that on that world stage, and the surfing was absolutely remarkable, mind-boggling performances. Medina is one of the all-time greats out there. I think he might be the greatest ever at Chopes. If he's not, it'd be probably behind Kelly or Andy. So yeah, he's right up the top of the tree, and he brought exactly what we thought he'd bring to that event. On the whole, surfing the Olympics was really, really special.
Yeah, he's just trying to win. I guess he's a born competitor, I am too, and we're just going to try and beat each other. Yeah, well, I grew up in a gingerbread house, a tiny little house, and it's on a farm, right at Margaret River. The river runs out and goes out to the ocean, and I used to run down and paddle down the river, to go surf the little wave there. It's the river mouth. It's just a little beach break. And then out the back of that, where they hold the WSL contest, is the box. So it's a really gnarly, shallow, slabbing reef break, and real dangerous, but really good. I love the wave, and yeah, that's where I grew up. I sort of went to the river mouth and then graduated to another wave, and then the box. It wasn't as crowded. There wasn't as many people to find, to surf with. There's kind of on your own a lot of the time. So you just got to make it happen, or you either be brave or just go home and don't even surf. But yeah, there's some big animals, some big waves, and I guess that just kind of gets you ready for what's on tour. It's kind of like that on tour. The waves are really gnarly in some spots, so I think it prepared me really well for where I'm at now, and wouldn't have it any other way.
Here we go, John John Florence versus Jack Robinson at pumping main break here on finals day. This is as good as it gets. Good to be home for Jack Robinson as he's rolling in now. Big bottom turn, a big open face hook for the local boy. Driving off the bottom, hits the lip and rides away. Massive two-turn combo for Jack.
It's unbelievable that Jack Robinson has beaten John John Florence twice at home in really similar circumstances. But that's the competitive strength of the guy. John John is pretty much regarded as the best ever surfer at Margaret River, and Jack just used that as motivation. He said, nah, this is my house, and there was no way he was going to let John John win after getting all those plaudits. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, Jack is just so, he's such an enjoyable competitor to watch because, yeah, no backward steps, total belief, 100% focus, knows he's done the work, nothing is going to get in his way. And I really believe that that cloud break duel at the end of the year is going to be enough to get him into a world title state of mind.
Winning at home is huge. I feel like it was so cool because I went against John John Florence again. Like, we had another final together, and we're friends, and we've been competing or growing up together for a long time. So yeah, it was pretty special to have a final against him, and he put the pressure on me at the start, and then I put it back on him and ended up getting the win. So yeah, I got him again.
Hard. Here we go. Jack's up.
Love the inside was. Here comes Robinson laying down that rail, hangs on to it, transitions in the barrel. Jack Robinson punches free. Back into the pit one more time. Oh my goodness.
Often too, you will have a surfer who you expect to see brilliance from really struggle to get to that 10-point ride, because in the judges' minds, I think that the judges have an expectation of how that surfer should perform. So, you know, it's sort of, I think you could probably say if someone at the back end of the ranks did the same thing, they might get a 10, but John John or Jack Robinson might struggle to get that 10-point ride. If you throw a 10-point ride and then they take off on the next wave because they are so good and they better that, then you've like, I've heard someone say before, a perfect heat is essentially a judging error, because you've thrown a 10-point ride and then you had nowhere else to go on the scale. So the second 10-point ride, it's like, well, you're either saying that it was equal, just equal to that ride, or it was a little bit better. But yeah, I just think once you're into that high 9-point range, none of the surfers probably mind too much. It's more for the surf fans to debate. He won the event, and that's all that matters.
That's what makes it cool too, the beauty of the sport. You never know. I think everyone has their, I'm not sure if everyone does, some guys just go surf, but I kind of have my little ritual, like my routine. Yeah, I always get there early and just kind of, I don't know, watch the waves. You might see me meditating or doing my thing, and yeah, just getting ready, getting kind of just to be present on that moment, you know. I think each to their own, but yeah, it's kind of my thing right now. I guess I got to try and be more like Zen. That's what I try and do before each heat. That works for me. That's my life. That's my lifestyle. So yeah, it's a good word. Yeah, that's why I named him that. Got to be more like that.
So for this year, my favourite surfers are, I've got to go with Jack Robinson on the men's side, just simply because he's been in that WSL finals conversation 3 times already. He looks primed. He has a connection that very few surfers have in big, heavy waves.
As far as Jack Robinson goes, like Jack at pipe, you just go, well, I'll write it in lead pencil, but I'll put his name on the winner's trophy. Just, you know, because that's how strong he is out there. You expect Jack to win at pipe, and he has done multiple times. He's won a few different events there, and as long as there is swell, I just don't see Jack not factoring into the finals and, you know, getting on stage. That's just how strong he is. He's one of the best barrel riders the world has ever seen. So he's a fantastic shot at starting the year in the #1 position.
I think it's the best schedule they've ever put out, just because we're also finishing in Fiji, and that's one of my favourite waves. And it's big, it's gnarly, it's cool for everyone watching. Like, I feel like we've had a hard few years. Like, some of the events, the waves haven't been as good. So this year with the schedule, it looks really good and at a good time of year. So I think we can get really good waves and put on a show for everyone, which would be cool. It'd be exciting. The final 5 and the world title is the goal in the long term. But I think each event, you have to go through each event to get there and reach that goal. So yeah, the goal's clear. It's just about getting there and going on the journey.